because this car is absolutely beautiful, but as you guys are going to shortly know, it is a big pain because there's a crazy amount of screws everywhere, and they happen to be way too long for some odd reason. But that being said, the first thing you're going to want to do is be very careful with the carbon fiber trim here. You're going to want to start off by slowly popping this right off, just like this. And once this gets popped off here, you'll be able to gently grab it, remove it, and set it in a safe spot, because this is in a very beautiful trim here. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is remove all of these screws. We have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 screws along the side here underneath the trim. What you're going to want to do is open up your glove box here, and you're going to want to remove 1, 2, 3, and 4 of these black screws here. Once you remove the screws here to lower the glove box, you'll see 3 gray, 3 silver screws that you'll need to be able to get this trim popped off. But believe me, it doesn't end there. What you're going to need to do next is then grab stereo removal tools. So we don't include this in the box, but you can get yourself some of these. They look something similar to these here, where you'll be able to stick right here in these holes to be able to bring out your stereo. You guys drive a Maserati. Spend the extra $9, 10 bucks on Amazon to buy these, okay? These are very useful, and you're going to want to use them. Now, if you don't want to spend the extra $10 and buy these, technically, you can still remove the stereo, because at the end of the day, the whole entire dash is popping off. But I highly recommend to get these. It will just make your life a lot easier on a car that's already a little painful to work with. But that being said, the way these work is you're going to just stick them right here in the hole here, and you'll hear a little clip, like a little boom boom, like snapping in, and then you'll just gently bring this out. So once it clips in, just like that, don't know if you guys heard it, you'll be able to pull this right out to make to unplug all of these connectors. I'll attach a photo of what the connectors are at the back here, but you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and they all have little clips that you have to push out or push in to be able to pull out the cables. Okay, so we'll set this to the side. The next thing you're going to want to do is there are 2 Phillips screws that are a little hidden. One over here and one over here inside. I'll bring the camera a little closer so you guys can see where the screws are, but we'll get there in a second because there's still a lot more to do. You're going to want to remove the trim, the little rubber or plastic cup holder insert here, because there are some screws in here that we're going to need. So once you remove these, you're going to remove these, and you're going to remove this one here as well. And you got to remove the cigarette ashtray here, and you want to also remove your Prindle shifter thing. There are going to be 2 connectors that you just have to remove to allow you to pop this off after. And there's going to be 1 screw, 2 screw, 3 screw, 4 screw, and then there's going to be 5 and 6. This is going to allow you to remove the center trim here to show you guys 2 other screws that are holding at the bottom here of your Climate that you'll have to remove. So we're going to go ahead, now that we removed these screws here, we're going to just open the armrest, and now we're going to go ahead and pop this right out here. You might have to put your car in, you're going to have to put your car in neutral. And then now you'll be able to pop this. Let me just stop this beeping somehow here, guys. Yeah, okay. Okay, guys, don't mind the beeping. I'm sorry, it's kind of annoying, but you're gonna have to put the gear shift in neutral, where you'll be able to then pop this off to grab the last 2 screws that you have in here. Well, I lied to you. I said last screw. There's another one that's even more enjoying to get to. But there are these 2 that you'll have to remove, and I'll move the camera over so you guys can see everything. I just kind of want to talk about it all first. And then you'll have to remove this panel here just by pushing on it. It's the panel that will expose your fuse box here on the driver. And then there's another screw that's hidden in here, and you got to get really down there to be able to see it. But there's 1 more on this side here. Once you get all of those, then everything will come out. So let me grab the camera. I'll bring it a little closer to show you where all the screws are. And then we're going to go ahead, pop this off, take this inside, transfer over the AC control and the screen, and add it onto the dash trim here. And then we'll bring it back to do all of the connections. I'll bring the camera closer so you guys can take a look. Taking a look at what the screws are here. Right here, you'll see that there's a Phillips. And then also right over here, there's another Phillips that you'll need to remove to allow the dash to come off. You also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 screws here that you need to remove to be able to pop off the centerpiece here. And then there's another screw that's on the side here. That's why you have to remove this panel here. You have to just pop this off, which will allow this bolt that's in here where my finger is access, so you'll be able to pop this off. Then, once you remove this center console here, you'll notice that there are 2 holes, 1 and 2 for the last 2 screws here. And then to remove this part here, you can just grab this, push it out, and then up to be able to then grab the centerpiece and bring it over here. Now we're gonna pop this off. We're gonna disconnect the last little plugs that we have back here. And I will show you what we got here so you guys can see what we're working with. But we're gonna wanna undo the button switch here. There's one here, and then there's gonna be, this one is a very painful one because you gotta take this little, push this little clip here, and then there's one underneath it as well. So I'm gonna do this off camera so I can take my time doing it. And then there's this silver one here that can just pop off. And then you got these two plugs for your climate that we'll have to remove. Once you guys remove everything, we're now gonna bring this inside to mount the new unit. All right, guys, we're gonna start off by removing all of these screws here. I'm going to be time-lapsing everything here to just make it a little bit easier, and then that way you guys will be able to see it. All right, guys, once you remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think it was like 7 screws. Once you remove that, the unit will just pop off. Now, there are these little flaps here that you're gonna notice where the Phillips bolts were connected to it. You're gonna wanna maybe push these inwards here to just flatten it to make it easier so when you pop off the unit here, it just comes right off, okay? Now we can set this old screen and put it in the garbage. Just joking, don't put this in the garbage because we still need to transfer your buttons over, okay? We'll show you how to do that in a second. Okay, guys, we're going to be transferring these buttons onto the new unit. So we're gonna go ahead and start removing these screws. You can see that everything's been designed to just plug in and the original mounting holes will fit right in there. So this is when you're going to want to use the screws that were provided in the box. So we can just mount one here and also one here. And remember, guys, if you're using any tools, do not over tighten anything, okay? They don't need to be crazy over tightened. So now this is done. Make sure, guys, that before you mount this screen onto the dash to connect the LTE GPS antenna, as it will be covered with the plastic trim piece that is back here. So now we're gonna go ahead and remount the unit. Quick little note, guys, I recommend that for these two at the bottom, to use the one with the washer that's very much larger, as it will cover that area and prevent it from popping off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and undo these. All right, guys, once you remove all of the bolts and remove your old climate piece, you're gonna need to remove the first trim here by popping it off. It is attached to this little fabric thing on here. Just rip it off or cut it off gently. And then you're gonna need to remove the bottom trim here, the outside trim, and get that out of the way. All right, guys, now you're gonna grab the unit, you're gonna put it from here, and these little tabs here get in the way, okay? Some people cut these little tabs, these right here, or you can just leave them. I'm gonna leave them because I will just make it work with them. So the way I'm gonna do this is by slowly putting this in from the bottom, and then going to just kind of get it in there. So it might be easier to start off from the top, from the front here, to kind of, I like to kind of grab this corner here and just like pull out like this leather here, a little bit here like this. That way it can fit, just like that. And then we're gonna turn this around and you can see how it fit. All right, guys, now we're gonna grab the mounting plate, and we're gonna actually grab this mounting plate and we're going to put, like, not the outside screws, we're going to just put all of our screws that go onto the unit with the little tiny screws that are provided. And then we will put the outside screws so it can be nice and center. We have just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws here from the ones that were provided. And now we're gonna grab the screws that were originally onto your unit here, and we're going to try to align this as best as we can. And there you have it. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I lied. And one more. 6. There we go. Now everything's been secured. Check this out. Wow, 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 wow. Let's go ahead and finish off the install by plugging everything in. For the climate, this connects right in here. Then this is going to go into your original unit, to a plug in behind your vehicle. And then this one here, the white plug, is for the hazard buttons and whatnot, which you'll notice that you have at the back there. All right, guys, now the LTE SIM card tray will just plug in on the biggest slot here. Then we have here the main harness, but we'll do that at the very end. We have another USB port. Goes in here. FM AM antenna will go in here. Then we have the other USB port, which will go in here. And then we have the We have this one here, which will go right here. And then there is one on the main harness that needs to connect to this one. There we go. And then this aux RIN is going to go into aux RIN. Let me just remove this little cable tie over. So you'll see aux RIN with aux RIN. I like to bend these a little bit just to get it in there tighter. And then aux in L right in here. Okay. And then the main plug, you go right in here. There we go. Okay. All the connectors have been made. All right, guys, clearly this is painful for everyone. But that being said, the reward is absolutely stunning. And I mean, just look at this. Looks beautiful. So that being said, now we've completed all of the connectors at the back here. And now let's have fun connecting everything. And now keep in mind all of these screws that you're seeing here, we don't need them. Okay, so let's not waste any more time. Let's go. Okay, guys. So right now, all right, guys, so now we're going to grab the SIM card and the 2 USB ports, and we're going to fish them into the glove box here. To do that in this vehicle might be a little bit interesting, of course. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the unit a little bit closer here, and we're going to see where does it come out from. And here's the SIM card, other USB. Oh, and I lost the SIM card. Oh, there it is. And then the final USB. I'm going to leave these here for now for a quick second, guys, while I bring the unit closer to finish off connecting everything. So to do all these connectors, the first ones we're going to do is going to be the ones that are a little bit on the longer side to do here. So number one, we can connect the climate one is at the bottom here. So we're going to go ahead and connect that one. Done. Then this white one is going to connect at the back here, but we're going to wait for that one because it's a little bit shorter. And now we're going to go ahead and make the rest of them by grabbing the main harness, which is a little shorter as well. You know what, then what I'll do is I'll just put the LTE antenna back there as well as the GPS antenna. All right, guys, we need to bring this a little closer. I'm going to go ahead and plug in this one at the bottom here. There are going to be a few plugs that don't need to be connected to anything, guys. And by the way, guys, now that I have this here, I want to show you how to unclip this. There's a little clip, a little push tab here that you just have to push upwards, and then it gets the little lever out. So then now we can go ahead and secure the connection. So this gray one, we're not going to need it for your display port, so we're just going to tuck that back there. We don't need that. The only other ones that we need, we already made the two bottom ones. The main one here, this is for the backup camera that this vehicle has, that we'll get to that in a sec. And then we have the main plug. The only other plug that we're going to need, radio one, is this, usually this white one. There we go. Okay. All right, guys, so we connected the main harness here. We also connected the CAN bus and the switch at the bottom. We transferred the USB and the SIM in here, connected the aux R to aux R, aux L to aux L. And then you're going to have, depending, I'm assuming that you guys do have the Bose one. If you have the Bose amp, you'll have to turn on and connect the amp C to amp continue, where you'll be able to then strip it, connect it, that way you get audio. Then lastly, we're going to go ahead and just tuck everything in and connect the plug here for the buttons, and we're done now. So you guys, I'm going to put this on time lapse here so you guys don't get too bored, okay? Now that we have tucked in all of the wiring back here, we're going to go ahead and settle this up, put this in here nice and easy. We had to move the shifter piece here